Hello, everyone. Welcome to the virtual college exploration for all of Illinois students through IACAC. A few housekeeping announcements before we get started. You can use the question and answer button to ask these amazing reps from Alabama any questions that you have about being down there or about the school in general. Your camera and microphone are off, so the panelists can't see or hear you, so we definitely want you to use that Q&A button on your screens. This is just one of the many different sessions happening, so be sure to check out the full schedule at iacac.org. And this presentation will also be recorded, so if you want to go back and watch it at any time, you'll be able to go and look at the recording in about a week on the IACAC website, so it's iacac.org. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to the panelists. Y'all enjoy your presentation and have a great day.
Allison, you're muted.
Off to a great start. Hi, everyone. My name is Allison Pudlick, and I am one of 3 Illinois regional representatives for the University of Alabama. Joining us tonight, we also have Amanda Sisk joining us from St. Louis, Missouri, and John McGreal joining us from the greater Green Bay area. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about the opportunities available to you at the University of Alabama. First and foremost, the University of Alabama is located in Tuscaloosa. We are located in the northwest corner of Alabama. From the Chicagoland area, Tuscaloosa is about an 11-hour drive. If you decide to fly into Alabama, you'd be flying into Birmingham, which is about 45 minutes from campus. Quite a few students do carpool from campus to the airport, but we also have shuttle services if you'd like to go to and from the airport as well. In downtown Tuscaloosa, there's quite a lot to do, including our amphitheater downtown. This is our live concert venue. We have different artists ranging from country, rap, even pop stars that come into Tuscaloosa. Just last week, Patti LaBelle was in Tuscaloosa, so you just never know who you're gonna see. But the backdrop to our amphitheater is the Black Warrior River. The Black Warrior River actually connects from downtown all the way through to the north side of our campus. So you can hop onto Manderson Landing, which is the river walk, and actually walk alongside the river all the way down to our downtown area. Now, downtown Tuscaloosa is very close to campus. It's about a 5-minute drive. And what connects downtown to campus is what we call the Strip. This is the beginning of your college-type restaurants like Jimmy John's, Pita Pit. We have a grocery store right next to campus. So all of those conveniences that you're used to at home, you have right next to campus, and that go ahead and introduces you to the downtown area. This is where you'll find a lot of the really great restaurants like steakhouses, seafood places, amazing barbecue. There is certainly no shortage of awesome food in downtown Tuscaloosa. In a 30-mile radius of campus, we also have 3 lakes. The picture that you're seeing here is Lake Lorraine. This is where you can rent out kayaks, canoes, paddle boats, and stretch your campus legs a little bit and get a different view while you're studying. But of course, we can't talk about Alabama without throwing in a mention of Ramajamas. This is a very iconic restaurant to the University of Alabama and Tuscaloosa. It's situated in the shadows of Bryant-Denny Football Stadium, and this is where you go to get your Greasy Spoon Diner breakfast. It's very common on a Saturday in the fall in Tuscaloosa to go ahead and get a breakfast at Ramajamas to fuel up for a long day of cheering on the Crimson Tide. Now, on campus, you'll interact with around 32,000 undergraduate students. Our students come to us from all 50 states in the United States, as well as all 67 counties in the state of Alabama. As an out-of-state student, you'll be in really great company. 60% of our undergraduate population is from out of state. In fact, Illinois is our 3rd most populated state on our campus. So even more so, you'll be in great company with fellow Illinoisans on campus. When you mention Portillo's, people are gonna know what you're talking about. In fact, we do have a student organization on campus called the Other 49. So the Other 49 states outside of Alabama. And in that organization, they do cater in Portillo's once a semester. So you're bound to get your fix at least once a semester on campus. Now, the typical freshman student at the University of Alabama averages around a 3.83 average GPA. around a 27 ACT or 1260 SAT. This is just the average profile of our Alabama student. This is not the admission requirements in order to get in. Now, every single year, we are continuously impressed with how high achieving and goal-oriented our students are with each passing year. For our class of 2019, the average GPA was 2.77. So you can see that our students are always pushing the bar every single year with academic excellence. Now, to further break down that application process, let's talk a little bit about our admission requirements. So if you are currently a senior, the time to apply to Alabama is now. Our application opened on July 15th, and it will remain open until May 1st. The University of Alabama is rolling admissions, which means as soon as you complete your application with all your materials, you will receive an admission decision in about a week's time. This year, we are currently evaluating students in two groups. The first group is students who have a test score on file, and the other group is the students that haven't been able to test quite yet. So let's kind of break down those two different processes for our students. So for our first group, if you have been able to test at some point and you have a test score with ACT or SAT, we recommend that you go ahead and submit the admissions application through our website. In fact, this is the only place that you can apply to the University of Alabama is gobama.ua.edu/apply. When you submit your application, you will then also follow up with the $40 application fee and then request your transcript be sent from your high school and submit your test scores. Once we have all three of those materials in our office, your application is then moved for review and you'll receive an admission decision in about a week's time. A good candidate for admission would be around a 21 on the ACT or 1060 SAT and a 3.0 GPA. So at that point, we would encourage a student to apply for admission and follow up with submitting that transcript and test score. Now, for our friends that don't have a test score quite yet, we are also evaluating students based on our application and transcript. So if you do not currently have a test score, but you hope to test at some point, you would go ahead and submit the admissions application, and that's something that you can certainly do right now with the $40 application fee. You would then follow up with submitting your transcript, and we would review you for what we are calling test flexible. So we review you for conditional admission review. This is a temporary admission decision with the promise that you'll submit test scores prior to enrolling at the university with a deadline of May 1st. So whether you have a test score or you don't currently have a test score, both students can go ahead and submit an application and submit their transcripts and the materials in order to be reviewed for admission. Our conditional admit students can continue with the enrollment process of submitting your enrollment fee, your housing deposit, just like a traditionally admitted student. And then once you submit your test score, we will review you for traditional admission and finalize that decision. Now, for both candidates for admission, we do not require an essay, rec letters, resume, or interview. So we just require the application transcript and test score. There's no catch, it's just simply not a part of our evaluation process. So hopefully that saves you some time throughout this application process. And students that are admitted prior to January 15th do have the opportunity to submit a competitive scholarship application, which we'll touch on a little bit later. But if you do have questions about the admissions process, I just wanted to remind you, feel free to go ahead and put your questions in the chat. Amanda Sisk is going to help you out with those questions as we go through this presentation. Now, lastly, on your application, you do have the opportunity to specify what you want to major in. The University of Alabama has over 200 academic programs to choose from. Our programs get as specific as different emphasis areas. So for example, if you want to study marine science, you also have the opportunity to specify which emphasis area. So marine science, biology, marine science, geology, or marine science, chemistry. So students have the opportunity to go that in depth with their major. But you also have the flexibility to come into the university undecided. Students can be undecided or come in confidently with the major of their choice. With most of our majors, we do not have any additional admission requirements. The only exception would be our capstone College of Nursing. So for example, if you want to apply as an engineering student, if you are admitted into the university as a whole, you are then admitted into our College of Engineering. If you don't know what type of engineering you want to study, you have about 1.5 years to go ahead and take some of those classes to decide what you are passionate about. Now, one of the ways that we do make the university feel a lot smaller is we organize students into different schools and colleges. So like the College of Engineering or the Capstone College of Nursing. This is so that students have specific buildings on campus for their required department, and you are passing the same students on a weekly basis. You're also taking the same classes as some students and creating that sense of community around your specific department. We also have a way of taking it a step further and making it feel smaller through our honors program offering. We have 7 different types of honors programs, including our general university honors programs. Some of our specialty programs would include Randall Research Scholars, which is an emphasis on undergraduate research, McCullough Pre-Medical Scholars, it's in the name, it's for our pre-med students. And then we also have Blunt Scholars, which is for the out-of-the-box thinker, and they get a minor in the liberal arts and sciences by the time that they graduate from the university. And then lastly, we have our University Fellows experience. This is for our students that are very interested in civic engagement, social justice, and just community outreach and building the whole citizen. All of these programs are competitive admission programs, but let me just go ahead and touch on our general honors program a little bit more in depth. The University Honors Program does require a separate application for admission. You must first be admitted to the university before submitting your application and your essay. The requirements for the Honors College are listed for you right there, and as well as the benefits of the Honors College. Some of these benefits can include smaller class sizes. We have honors-specific advisors. So these are advisors in addition to your academic advisor. Now, you don't have to be any particular major in order to be a part of the University Honors Program. This is open to all majors at the university. Now, the goal of joining the Honors College is to take 18 credit hours of honors coursework by the time that you graduate from the university to earn honors distinction. And lastly, a few of the other benefits: you do have the opportunity to live in an honors residential community with fellow honors students. If you want to take this a step further, there is a living and learning community where you are co-enrolled in one class in your freshman year with fellow honors college students that live on your floor. So right off the bat, you have a cohort of about 30 students that you can get to know right on your floor and create that study environment. And then you also have additional opportunities when it comes to undergraduate research and education abroad. A few of the other resources that our students benefit from on campus do include our Student Support Center. This is where students can benefit from free tutoring as well as peer mentorship programs. We also have our Career Center, which is where students have the opportunity to connect with alumni through a database called Handshake. You can upload your resume and then it is viewable by any of our alumni in our database. Now, we feel that our Career Center is really what sets us apart as a university in terms of internship and career placement opportunities. Currently, the University of Alabama is #1 in comparison to all of the schools in the Southeastern Conference for internship placement. So our students do have very successful opportunities at getting multiple internships during their tenure at the University of Alabama. Our students also are very successful after they graduate with a 90% successful placement rate. This is 6 months after graduation. They are either in the career of their choice, they have gone back to get their master's or gone to a professional school, or they have enrolled in the military, Army, or Air Force as part of their commitment to our ROTC program. So students are very successful. They're also going to a variety of different locations. In our top 10 cities for graduates, it does include Chicago. So if you're wanting to come to University of Alabama and then go back to Illinois, that is certainly a possibility for Alabama graduates. This list also includes Birmingham, Charlotte, Dallas, Houston, Nashville, Washington, DC, and a variety of others as well. So this is just a short list of some of our campus resources that are available to students. And we find that students that take advantage of these resources and those that get involved are the most successful at the University of Alabama. You do have over 600 student organizations to choose from, which is a lot to offer. I'll go ahead and highlight some of these organizations here But just know, for the sake of time, unfortunately, I can't touch on all 600 organizations, but know that we do have a large variety to choose from. In the top left-hand corner of your screen, you're seeing a picture of our dance marathon. This is where students dance for hours on end to raise money for the Women's and Children's Hospital of Children Miracles Network. So it's a really awesome organization. It's not a pre-qualifier that you have to be a good dancer in order to participate in Dance Marathon. You just have to have enthusiasm and want to raise money for a great cause. In the middle there is our organization called Onyx, which is a multicultural programming board. This event in particular is a step show that they put on every single year during homecoming. In the top right-hand corner is our triathletes. This is one of many different ways that you can get involved with continuing that level of activity that you're used to in high school. So if you want to continue a sport that you play in high school in college, feel free to join an intramural team or a club team. Maybe you don't want that intensity of a D1 sport. This is a really great way to stay active in college and then also find that sense of community. We also, in the bottom right-hand corner, have a picture of our marching band. Our marching band is called the $1 Million Band. In addition to marching band, we have concert bands, ensembles, a cappella groups, we have dance teams, theater organizations. There are so many different ways to express your creativity on our campus. And then lastly, just highlighting an academic opportunity, this is our Formula One racing team. This is one of many organizations that we offer, in particular to our engineering students, but to all of our students on campus that may have these same interests. We also have our astrobotics team that has won the NASA top prize for the mining competition for 5 consecutive years. We have an eco sport club where they take a Camaro and they break it all the way down and build it back up to test its speed against its sustainability. So really great organizations for students to fine tune those leadership skills, working with other people, but then also get that experiential learning in tangent with their academic program. The last organization that I will highlight is the opportunity to join a fraternity or sorority. The University of Alabama has a very lively Greek community. We have the largest Greek community in the country with over 66 social Greek organizations across 4 different branches. In order to learn a little bit more about these recruitment processes, we are happy to discuss the recruitment processes for each of the branches more specifically with students. But this is a really great opportunity to find your sense of community right away on campus, as well as get academic support, social support, and that overall sense of community here on our campus. Now, it wouldn't be a University of Alabama presentation if we didn't mention our amazing football team. And for many of you, this is a really exciting part of coming to the University of Alabama. And I'm happy to report that you are able to go to football games, especially as a freshman. Our football games may be more cost effective than you may think. In fact, conference games are $20 and non-conference games are $15. And going to football games is the only sport that you have to pay for. So if you are a basketball fan, gymnastics, wrestling, softball, or even if you like to wake up at 6 a.m. and watch our rowing team go through a match, that is perfectly fine. Football is the only sport that you have to pay to attend. And let me tell you, there is nothing like a Saturday in Tuscaloosa in Bryant-Denny Stadium. One of my favorite facts about the university is that not only do we have 17 national championships, but we are so dedicated and so proud that we went to the lengths of making sure the capacity of our stadium totaled the number of championships that we have. Now, what I mean by that, as you can see in the top left-hand corner, we have 101,821 seats in our football stadium. If you add up 1 + 1 + 8 + 2 + 1, that equals 17. Try it, get out a calculator, or trust me. But this is just really cool. It just goes to the length that we are a really proud school, not only of our academic accomplishments, but of all the accomplishments of our students, including our student athletes. Now, I know a big aspect of living on campus is that live-on experience as a freshman. We do require our students to live on campus in their freshman year, and they have a variety of options to choose from when it comes to the style of housing. The 3 options that you're seeing here include in the bottom right-hand corner our traditional style. Traditional style housing has 2 beds for you and your roommate, and then a bathroom down the hallway. In the top left-hand corner is hotel style. This is where 2 students, again, share a room, and then there is a private bathroom attached for those 2 students. And then the third option is our suite style. Suite style is where 4 students each have their own private room, and then they have access to 2 bathrooms that the 4 people share, a living room, and a kitchenette with a full-size refrigerator, a microwave, and a sink. All of our housing options are really great options, and I'm happy to report that they all have central air conditioning. This is an absolute must. Being in the South is having air conditioning, and we certainly know what's up. Air conditioning is always on full blast in all of our academic buildings as well as our residence hall, so you are taken care of on that front. The last thing that I'll mention about our housing is that you can see that it is very centralized on campus. That middle part on the map is what we call our main campus. That's our quad, our library, our student center, most of our dining facilities. We have several Chick-fil-A's on campus, Wendy's, Starbucks, a drive-through Starbucks. So if there's one takeaway from being in Tuscaloosa, is that based on your on-campus living and downtown, you should never go hungry. There's no such thing as eating ramen in your freshman year at Alabama because your dining plan is unlimited. So go ahead and take full advantage of that. But if you do need a break from living on campus because you really want to see the rest of the world, you do have the opportunity to study abroad. Study abroad is the opportunity to expand your worldly perceptions. Our study abroad program is very flexible. You can study abroad for 2 weeks, a month, a semester, or a year, and you can study abroad in all semesters, so fall, spring, or summer. We go to over 60 different countries, and we have over 200 consortium agreements. So our study abroad program is very flexible. You can search by what country you want to go to, what type of program. Maybe you want to do an exchange program or a university education abroad program where you physically study at another university in another country. We have a wide range of programs and even internships abroad as well. So feel free to go to international.ua.edu. If you're anything like me right now in the pandemic, you're dreaming of going pretty much anywhere. So it could be a fun tool to go on our website and just kind of explore those different options for study abroad. But at this time, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to John McReel, and he's going to bring us home with some scholarship information.
Good evening. I hope you all are doing well today. My name is John McReel. I actually work with all the students in what we consider Northern Illinois, which is kind of like Lake McHenry counties, Peoria area, and everything that kind of moves towards Wisconsin and Iowa up to the left. I haven't come up with a clever name for it yet, but I will. So we do have some great scholarship opportunities. In fact, there's 3 different ways to receive scholarship money at Alabama. What you see on the screen right here is our merit-based scholarships. This is probably what we're the most known for. So as you're taking a look at it, if you're thinking to yourself, hey, I have that GPA of a 3.5 and I have that 29 on the ACT, you're going to receive $15,000 a year automatically from us, or a 1330 on the SAT. You're going to receive that scholarship from us automatically. All right, so it's going to be a great opportunity for you to really cut into that cost of attendance a little bit as you're looking at Alabama. We also have a competitive scholarship application process as well that gives you the opportunity to earn a fair amount of scholarship money as well. In fact, this is something that we just started brand new, literally today. It launched on our website. So there's actually some more information. If you go to scholarships.ua.edu, you can see what this new scholarship program looks like, as well as what you need to do in order to compete for those scholarships is you have to fill out that scholarship application. That's going to be due by January 15. You'll probably hear me say that date at least one more time, if not twice, because it's that important. So January 15th, you're going to need to fill out that scholarship application. Within that application, we're going to look for you to have your resume of all of your involvement at your high school, all of your involvement in the community, whatever else you really want to tell us about yourself. If you work, we'll want to know that information. Whatever it is that you do that makes you who you are, you'll want to let us know. All right. So we also have this timeline here, and I want to touch on that a little bit. July 15 was when our application opened up this past year. Usually for any sophomores or juniors on the call, on the Zoom chat right now, we typically open our application anywhere from July 1st to about July 15. This year it was a little bit later, but just be on the lookout for it. We'll definitely let you know when it's going to open on up. So that's when the application starts. Now we practice rolling admission, as Allison mentioned, so at any point, go ahead and have those transcripts and test scores sent to us so we can review your application and get you an admission decision to Alabama. Then October 1st is kind of another big day. All right, we look for students to have their FAFSA application started at that point. That's your free application for federal student aid. In the state of Illinois, this is actually pretty important. There's something called the Illinois MAP Grant. And just as a little PSA for everybody out there, there's only a certain amount of money in that grant. So the sooner you fill out the application, if you qualify for it, the more likely you are to receive it. That's also when our housing application opens on up. So if you're thinking, hey, I really want to live in that suite, you're going to want to make sure you do that housing application pretty quickly. We'll talk about a priority date here in a second. As I mentioned, I'd bring up the scholarship deadline yet again, January 15. Make sure you get that application in by that point. I know I've said it 3 times, but that's because it's 3 times as important. And then February 1st is our priority housing application date. If you apply for housing by that date, you get to select your own housing assignment. You get to select your roommate. So if you know, hey, I want to live on the 5th floor of Presidential Village, and I want an eastward exposure so the sunrise can wake me up in the morning, or whatever it is that gets you excited, you can choose all of that when it comes to that housing priority date. All right, so that's February 1st. Around March 1st is when we're going to hopefully send you your final financial aid information, as well as what we call your consolidated award letter. It's just a fancy phrase. We're going to let you know exactly what your scholarship package is going to look like and exactly what your financial aid package is going to look like at the university. So make sure that you are moving along everything, moving along this timeline in that space. And then May 1st, National College Decision Deadline Day. That's the day that hopefully you're going to decide, yep, I'm going to Alabama. You're going to let Allison, Amanda, or I know. You're going to make our day. We're going to say roll tide. We're going to throw a little party, or you can tell us you're going somewhere else, in which case, that's fine. As long as it's not Auburn, we don't really care. And that's fine. Auburn's a great place too, but you got to come to Alabama. But that's May 1st. All right. There's a few other deadlines that go along with May 1. This year, that's when we're going to need that standardized test for. That's when, if you're a National Merit finalist, you need to tell National Merit that Alabama is your #1 choice. You can get that great National Merit finalist scholarship from us. As well as that's right around when housing selection is going to take place. You need to choose your roommate. Usually late April, early May is when that's going to take place. So keep that in mind. And then, like I said, again, National College Decision Deadline Day. That is the biggest moment that we're really going to focus on. That's when you'll hear Allison, myself, or Amanda on the phone talking with you and saying, hey, where are you at? What else can we do? How else can we help get you to Alabama? And then finally, I talk about this all of the time. Choosing the right college is so much more than the major. The major is important. The major is exciting. It's what you're going to do for your career. And that is phenomenal and terribly exciting. But how do you choose the right institution? I was working the chat a little bit with Amanda. There's some of you interested in nursing, some of you interested in business, engineering, communications, and all of the above. There's going to be a lot of great schools that can offer that for you. So how do you know if it's going to be the right fit for yourself? You have to think about academically, what's going to be great for you, socially, what's going to be great for you, what's going to kind of propel you into your career, what out of the classroom experiences you're going to have, what internship opportunities, co-ops that you're going to have at the university as well. And that all plays into the right fit. And the best way, the easiest way to figure that out is to get your feet on the ground, to come visit Tuscaloosa and take a look at the university. Hopefully you've seen some from the photos on this PowerPoint and slideshow presentation here that campus is gorgeous. It's stunning. But pictures can only do so much. All right, so we really want you to come down to campus. So you can see this web address right here. We do offer campus tours Monday through Friday currently. They are a little bit limited in how many students can be on a tour and how many people can be on a tour. So right now we're asking that you just bring one guest with you. That's so that as many people can go on those tours as possible in terms of prospective students. We also have some availability to meet with campus partners to do something more like an in-depth visit. We're able to not only take that campus tour, but perhaps meet with the College of Arts and Sciences or meet with communications or someone along those lines within your major to really help propel yourself forward. Obviously, those might be a little limited right now, but we are ramping them up as we speak, which is really exciting. So we can give you that full picture of the university. We also are offering university days throughout the course of the fall, and I'm sure we're going to have some great events in the spring as well. Those are to be announced. So be on the lookout for those and save the date for the spring. But we really would love to have you come to Tuscaloosa, meet some of our great coworkers, meet our fantastic faculty, and our absolutely wonderful students who attend the university. So up here is our contact information. You have myself and these two great looking women who work with students from the state of Illinois. I am regionally based in the greater Green Bay area, but don't be afraid. I grew up in DuPage County. I know exactly what it's like to live in the 630 and travel into Chicago. So whatever questions you all have, please feel free to fire away at us, all right?
I think it's worth mentioning, John went to school at Addison Trail High School. I went to St. Charles North High School. So we are natives in the area. So we know exactly what it's like to graduate from an Illinois high school and pursue this whole college search process. So happy to answer any questions. So at this time, we'd love for you to go ahead and use that chat function to get those last minute questions answered. If you take away anything from today, we want you to feel confident moving forward in this process and what it is that you need to do to be successful at UA.
And quick shout out to one student who's literally watching this in Alabama right now, taking a tour tomorrow. So roll tide to that. Nice.
Make sure you get some Dreamland barbecue. There's something to be said about Tuscaloosa. There's this big debate between barbecue joints, and that is, are you team Dreamland or are you team Archibald's? And it's this highly contested debate. So if you ever go to Tuscaloosa and you're a big barbecue fan, definitely try both and have your opinions ready, because you'll be asked, especially by alumni, which one you like best.
Allison, are you Archibald's or Dreamland?
I'm Dreamland all the way.
Good.
Especially team banana pudding. So good.
Outside of the tour, something we might suggest for you to take a look at is really just soaking in the campus. And I know that you're going to see it on the tour, but really soak in the students and soak in the atmosphere, and definitely take a trip to downtown Tuscaloosa. There's a lot of great restaurants there. I know I eat my way through and gain about 10 pounds when I'm in Tuscaloosa every year, and I have to run it off. So that's definitely what I would suggest, you know, even to spending some time sitting in the Starbucks in the Berg and just kind of soaking up the action on campus. So Allison, are there club sports if someone is not interested in playing D1?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, you have a lot to choose from at Alabama. If you are not ready to make that commitment of being a D1 athlete, you do have the opportunity to join either an intramural sport or a club sport. And really the difference between the two is club level is still that structure that you're used to if maybe you did a travel sport in high school, and it does require a tryout, whereas intramural sports is just for fun. It's a great way to meet people. You play a pickup game of like flag football every Tuesday at 10 p.m. And yes, students are up till 10 p.m. on campus. It's pretty common that you only have a few classes a day, and you get to make your study schedule, and then you have time for extracurriculars as well. And for a list of all of our different club sports, we do have a website called MySource. And on MySource, you can actually type in a keyword for any of the 600 organizations you may be interested in. So the other day, just for fun, I was like, I like kayaking. I'm going to type in kayak. Sure enough, University of Alabama has a kayak club. So mysource.ua.edu has a variety of different organizations that you can just look up, including club sports, and their contact information. That's important.
So Amanda, I've got a question for you. What does freshman transportation look like? Are they allowed to have cars on campus?
So we currently do not have any restrictions against our incoming freshmen having cars on campus. You do have to purchase a parking permit. I believe this year it was around $425 for the year. But I would say that once you're on campus, you'll find that you won't move that car around too much. A lot easier to walk to classes, or we have a really great Crimson Ride bus system that's easy to use. If you have the Alabama app on your phone, you can pull up that bus system, and you'll see like the little buses moving around the screen, so it tells you exactly where you are at. And you'll also have friends that will have cars as well too. So you know, it's an option for you if you want to bring your car and get a permit for it, but definitely know that it's really easy to get around campus itself. Another question that came up that I know might apply to quite a few students is if the University of Alabama accepts dual credit from colleges in Illinois. I know I haven't heard too many issues of students being able to transfer their courses over, and I don't believe that John or Allison have either. Our registrar's website does have a really good transfer equivalency page where you can search for Illinois, and then you can pull up the college that you've taken your classes through, and it'll show you every class that has transferred over to Alabama in the past. And we do also have a nice little AP chart. If you've taken AP exams, that will show you what AP credits we can take, what exam scores we can take for the different AP classes, and what kind of credit you can get through that. So I know that that's a pretty common one that we get. Okay, another one that we see that I know we all get asked quite a bit, that I'm seeing being asked right now, is about our social science requirement for admission. So as a part of the admission process, as Allison was talking about, we do require we look for certain types of courses that you've taken throughout high school. One of the course areas is social sciences, and we like to see 4 credits of social sciences. Now, I think all the states that we work with students might not require 4 for graduation from high school. So definitely know that if you have, we want to see either 4 full credits of social science, or if you have at least 3, if you've taken at least 2 years of foreign language, we can count a second year of foreign language as a 4th social science as well too. I know a lot of the students I work with in Southern Illinois, and then a lot of my Missouri students fall into that category as well too.
We had another good question that came in, and it was kind of a little bit of a specific situation. So I'm going to make it a nice broad answer for everybody in terms of like how quick you'll hear an admissions decision. Typically, it takes about 2 weeks once we have a completed application. Now, for those of you who maybe checked that box that said, hey, applying without test scores, they also had asked if they were going to get a decision before that. If you had checked that box, you're going to get a conditional admission to the university. And that will basically allow you to do everything but sign up for bound orientation. Once we get that test score on in, we'll be able to go ahead and get that taken care of. Now, if you have everything and you have a completed file, like I said, about 2 weeks and you receive that decision, you'll be notified in 2 ways. You'll receive an email, as well as you're going to get a nice fancy shiny packet in the mail that's going to tell you that you've been accepted to the university as well. So keep an eye both on your Crimson email address as well as your mailbox. So there was a question about transportation to and from the airport. There's actually some public shuttles that will run back and forth from the airport in order to take care of that for students. So you will have an opportunity to use those public shuttles, or I think Amanda or Allison had mentioned that a lot of folks will have cars on campus. So a lot of students will kind of collaborate and say, hey, I'm going to give you $10 for some gas money, and can you get me to the airport since you're going anyways? So you'll have an opportunity that way.
Yeah, there's quite a few. I think there's at least a handful of different shuttle companies that offer routes between the airport and campus. One that I've heard a lot from students about is one called Scuttle Shuttle, and I know that it has at least a few different pickup points on campus, so it makes it really easy for you to pick that up and get to the airport without having to even get off campus.
That's my favorite one, the Scuttle Shuttle. Easy to remember because it's a fun name.
It's got a great name.
It's totally a great name, great marketing. We got a question about, are there any volunteer opportunities on and near campus? And yes, I can specifically think of a couple right off my head. I do know that we have a Good Samaritan clinic near campus. So for any of our pre-med students or nursing students that are interested in possibly a healthcare career, it's a really great way to start getting that opportunity to be around patients, having that bedside manner, and then also lending an extra hand. Another opportunity that I just heard of this week, which I love and I wish I could do in Tuscaloosa, is I heard that our students can go to the Tuscaloosa Metro Animal Shelter and check out a rescue animal and walk it around campus. Doesn't that sound like an awesome deal? That doesn't even sound like you're volunteering at that point. Like, you don't have to ask me twice to hang out with puppies. But this is how our students kind of, if you're missing your pet at home, you have the opportunity to do that. And then kind of a known fact about the University of Alabama is that one of our alumni is the founder of Habitat for Humanity. So Habitat for Humanity is a huge draw for volunteer opportunities on campus. So those are just 3 examples, healthcare, puppies, and building houses.
That's awesome. I love it as a fellow lover of puppies. So we also have a great question here asking if there's dining options for people with allergies, special diets like vegan or vegetarian. Absolutely. So a couple of things. One, there's a bunch of restaurants in town also that are really starting to differentiate what they're offering. I remember 7 years ago, I went to Tuscaloosa, it's basically fried food everywhere. And now you have vegan restaurants, you have gluten-free restaurants, you have lots of different options that way, which is pretty exciting. On campus, you also have a lot of things. So I have a weird allergy. I'm allergic to apples. It's strange. It's weird. Don't worry too much about it. But so I always use myself as an example. There is a dietary restriction station that, say the entree was being made with apples that day. I could go there and they can make the same thing without that. Or they can make something kind of made to order, right? So if you want pasta or something like that, they'll have that there for you. So there's always that option, as well as I know the dining halls are working on diversifying their menus a little bit as well and having some vegetarian and vegan options specifically at most of the meals already pre-prepared. So you don't have to stress too much about that. But that's a great question. We also will work with students with with specific diets. So especially if maybe you have Crohn's disease or something like that. We've done a lot of work with students in the past to ensure that they have a good dining experience, because everyone loves to eat.
Yeah, and there, even in the residence halls, there are kitchens that you could use as well. So if you have really specific dietary restrictions, you could bring like a pan or 2 into your residence hall and utilize those kitchens as well. I know my brother in college is a really healthy eater, so he typically pursues the option to make his own food, but then goes to the dining hall for some basic necessities as well. And I like this question of how long will it take you to get from one end of campus to the other? And the answer is it's very easy to get around the University of Alabama campus. Presidential 1 and Presidential 2 suite style residence hall are probably the furthest north area on campus. And then Bryant-Denny Football Stadium is probably the furthest south. So from those 2 points, about 25 minutes. However, on average, to get from class to class, no more than 5 to 10 minutes. In fact, in college, you get to make your own schedule. So you'll have your housing assignment around May of your senior year. And then in June or July, you attend something called Bama Bound Freshman Orientation. And this is where you meet with an academic advisor, and they tell you what classes you need, what buildings they're offered in, and at what times. So sometimes you do have time flexibility and building flexibility to control exactly how far your walk is. So very different from high school, where you only have 10 minutes, if you're lucky, to get from class to class. In college, sometimes you have an hour gap in between, and that's when you can hang out in the Ferguson Student Center or the Gorgas Library, or hang out on the quad where you're guaranteed to see like 2 puppies a day. So yeah, pretty cool opportunities for customizing your schedule and making it easier to get around campus. And then we also have a shuttle system too, if you tend to opt into that solution. Great questions. I believe we're coming up on time here, but I do want to address that we do have a student workout center as well. And we have 2 on campus that students can utilize in addition to a lazy river. So thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate you all taking the time to learn a little bit more about the University of Alabama. and roll tide.
Roll Tide.
And just a reminder, you guys, these sessions are recorded. So if you want to learn and go back and look at more information about the University of Alabama, you definitely can go ahead and access that video at iacac.org. They will also be sent all of your information. So if you want to get in contact with them, or if you didn't get a question answered, they can always reach out to you as well. You will be provided a small link to take a 4-question survey. We'd love any feedback that you had about the session. Thank you all for joining us and enjoy your night.